The Jimmy Butler saga is out of control now. Teams are emerging on the De'Aaron Fox trade market. Cameron Johnson's price tag has been set by the Nets, and we have many more players with updates in regard to the trade market. So in this week's episode of In Case You Missed It, we will break all of it down in our weekly recap, along with many other storylines from Week 11. Obviously, we got to start with Jimmy Butler, because who else would we be talking about this week after he requested a trade and then proceeded to be suspended for conduct detrimental to the team? Wild week for him and the Heat, and now the rumors of his next destination are swarming. I really don't want to waste anyone's time and discuss all the teams involved, because at the end of the day, the money just doesn't work for most of the teams discussed, and those teams would have to ship off their entire roster and whatever assets they have in exchange for Jimmy. A losing move for teams looking to contend, and the only deal that a quote-unquote contender could make without trading a huge part of their team in exchange right now would be the Suns swapping Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler. I really doubt Jimmy Butler gets traded this year or even in the offseason. I think he's just going to leave. I don't foresee any trade happening around Jimmy Butler, since this contract's just way too big. Shifting to Sacramento, the Kings superstar De'Aaron Fox has had many trade rumors, mostly surrounding teams in Texas, as it is his hometown, and the Rockets and Spurs are both actively seeking a deal involving him if the opportunity does present itself. Realistically, if Fox is moved, he will probably end up at either of those two destinations, as they have the most favorable trade packages for him. But this week, the Orlando Magic emerged as a suitor, as they have a need for a true point guard, and having a superstar point guard would only elevate them as a team in the East. I'm interested to know how aggressive the Magic are pursuing a potential Fox deal, because I don't think they would offer up a huge package like the Rockets specifically would, not to mention the fact the Magic don't really have the enticing young players that Sacramento would ideally want in return either. I really don't think there's much traction behind a De'Aaron Fox to Orlando deal. I actually doubt that De'Aaron Fox is going to get traded this year now, since the Kings just had a 3-0 week. Kings are probably going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, we're good now. You're not good now. Don't think that. Please don't think that. You went 3-0 against three teams that were missing their best players on the road. Without your best player and on the road isn't exactly a recipe for success. They played 3 good games. Congratulations. But I'm going to need to see more of a sample size, because the Kings team looks way too far broken to actually be taken serious. But De'Aaron Fox isn't going to be traded either. So Jimmy Butler and De'Aaron Fox trade rumors, I'm not addressing them anymore. They're just not happening unless I get groundbreaking information. The Sacramento Kings are actually in the market for the next player we will talk about, and that is sharpshooting 3-and-D wing Cameron Johnson. After trading Dorian Finney-Smith last week, the Nets shifted their focus to a Cam Johnson deal, and they announced his price tag. The price tag is multiple first-round picks. Teams that have those available and the financial flexibility that could compete in a more than likely bidding war for him are the Grizzlies, Magic, and Thunder. I could also see scenarios where he ends up with the Kings, Rockets, Clippers, or the Warriors, but those 4 aren't as likely. Get ready though, this is going to be the biggest name on the market that will probably be traded, and my guess is he ends up in Memphis. Nikola Vucevic rumors started to ramp up too, but I think it is nearly a guarantee he ends up with the Warriors, as the fit makes too much sense. There have been many mock trades surrounding his teammate Zach LaVine, but they haven't made any sense to me, so I'm not entertaining them in this video. New York Knicks center Mitchell Robinson surprisingly has some interest from several teams. I'm not sure how true that is, but who knows what's actually happening with that. That is it for trade rumors this week. From here until closer to the deadline, we will only be addressing the new ones, Cam Johnson, any actual deals, and if Fox and Butler have groundbreaking news. Actually, my next take from the week kind of falls into the category of trades, I guess, but not as deeply. Right now, the Denver Nuggets are surging behind their MVP finally getting help. The help surprisingly hasn't even come from his presumed co-star Jamal Murray, but rather Michael Porter Jr., who has been on a heater of late, specifically this week, averaging 23-6 in 4 games, and also Russell Westbrook. The numbers with Westbrook as the starter scream out to you, as he has great individual numbers, but the team record with him as a starter have been notable. With those numbers and the disappointment of Jamal Murray, I am wondering if the Nuggets are at least open to the idea of moving Jamal Murray. Probably not, but if you think about it, he has the most value of any of the 3 they could move in order to correct their issues on both ends via trade, and Russell Westbrook could slide in and be the starting point guard. I don't think a Jamal Murray trade is going to happen, but I'm definitely interested in that. And if you want to know more about it, you can always comment and ask. The Nuggets may be surging, but I'm still not confident in this team because, well, I got many reasons. Maybe I'll talk about them next week, but don't be too confident on this team. They got the best player, but that's not going to be enough come playoff time, as we just saw last year. We are notified as fans this week that the Cleveland Cavaliers are on pace to have 72 wins. That would tie the second most in NBA history. My question for you all is, how confident are you in the team 11 weeks in, though? I have had my doubts, as I haven't exactly forgotten the playoff performances the past 2 seasons, but I am starting to come around, as this seems to be the first year that the Core 4 has actually played a lot of minutes together in the regular season, and with that, the chemistry has developed. They have 4 all-star caliber players that have chemistry and are clicking on both ends. The defensive schemes they run, such as a zone defense, among others, allows them to use their size advantage effectively while understanding that they have undersized guards, and it allows for them to compensate for Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland's deficiencies on that end. Offensively, D. Mitch has been good, but he is a big moment player, and his best will come in the playoffs. Darius Garland seems to be somewhat fixed, but Mobley and Allen are playing at a high level and with continuity on that end, which is huge. Also worth noting, their depth is amazing and have multiple 6 Man of the Year candidates, which is huge. So yes, I, as a Cleveland Cavaliers doubter, disbeliever, whatever you want to call it, am finally announcing my support of the movement that says the Cleveland Cavaliers are contenders, since I do believe they could win an NBA championship this year and they could win the Eastern Conference. I don't think that's crazy to say anymore. I did think it was for a while, though, but it is not. This team is for real. While we are talking about contenders and pretenders and confidence, I have some of my opinions to update you all on. Thunder and Celtics are on a clear crash course to meet in the finals still in my eyes. OKC has only lost once since Isaiah Hartenstein has debuted, as they are 17-1. Chet Holmgren has not played in any of those games either. They have glaring weaknesses in terms of shooting, but this defense is so good. Like, it's on a generational level of good, and SGA is making a case to solidify himself as an undisputed top 3 player in the league right now, and factoring those 2 things and so much more, and I just really can't see any Western Conference team beating them right now. I was holding on to the Mavericks as a team they could be upset by, but something's off about them this year. If you recall how confident I was in that team last year, I predicted them to make the finals well before the playoffs even started, and they did. I don't have the same optimism this year, though, and that worries me for that team. Everyone else in the West, I think the Thunder has a clear advantage over, and I can't see them losing a best-of-7 series to those teams right now. Right now, I think the path is clearer for the Thunder than the Celtics to the finals. For example, when I look at the East, I truly think that Cleveland and New York, if they add depth, will give the Celtics fits. Here are some quick takes and notable performances from Week 11. Cam Whitmore wonders why he isn't playing more. He has shined when given minutes, but the IQ of him is really, really bad, and he isn't a great team player, and that just doesn't get you minutes on a team that wants to contend. Tristan Da Silva shouldn't be a front-runner for Rookie of the Year, but what he has done to help the Magic without Franz and Paolo needs more attention. Jaden Ivey broke his fibula, prayers to him. Ja is out with an AC joint sprain. Victor Wembanyama was dominant all week and even brought himself into the MVP conversation, rightfully so at this point. In case you missed it, Kawhi Leonard made his debut on Saturday. The Raptors scored 71 points in an NBA game, which is insane. CJ McCollum dropped 50 this week. Ant had 53 in a loss. Cade beat Ant in that game as he had 40 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. Bryce Sensabaugh dropped 34 for the Jazz this week. I guess LeBron feels good now that he is 40, as he was killing this week. Same with Cat and Brunson, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, and Trae Young, and both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. For the first time in channel history, we have co-MVPs for a week, and Week 11 co-MVPs are Nikola Jokic and SGA. Their numbers are on the screen with them. No surprise player this week. The team of the week goes to the Indiana Pacers, and the worst team of the week was the Milwaukee Bucks, since they had 2 really bad losses to very bad teams, which was not something you want to see. My Week 11 power rankings are also on the screen right now, so feel free to pause and check them out real quick. If you want to watch last week's episode, in case you missed it, click on the video in the upper left-hand corner. If you want to see who I'm selecting for the All-Star game, I do have some controversial picks along with the perfect roster for the All-Star game, so that video is in the upper right. click on one of those two videos. And y'all stay safe. Have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.